Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Oops, let me turn on my light. There we go, I'm a real streamer now. I'm a real streamer. No streamer content creator light, streamer content creator light. Look at that. I am delivering content to the people. One of the most essential jobs in modernity. Delivering entertainment for everyone. Anyway, we're going to be creating new content today like we have been doing. Again, this month is just going to be content focused for the most part. Just trying to stuff as much content into the game as possible as we work towards release, which is happening later this year. So, If you're interested in Alchemortis, please go ahead and wishlist it. I would appreciate that. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can use alchemy to create your own builds and synergies. Check it out. You can also support me on Patreon. If you subscribe to the top tier here, I will send you a Steam key for the full game when it launches, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So if that sounds good to you, you can check that out. You can also purchase one of my Udemy courses. These will teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine. And you can become a member on YouTube, all that good stuff. Everything is linked below. And I appreciate all of your support. Oh, that's interesting. Is that new? Anyway. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome back. Good to see you. V, welcome. Good to see you again. Emerson, hello, hello. That's lit. Cool. Hello, AR Time. Hello, Cody. What got you started as a game designer programmer? How did you get the idea for your game? Well, I mean, I started doing game stuff when I was like 14 years old, and I think, you know, mostly just interested in making my own games. You know, tale as old as time. I think everyone who plays games at some point thinks about making them. But it wasn't until recent years that I got really serious about trying to create quality games and with good art and good design and all that stuff. How did I get the idea for my game? I was inspired mostly by the Bazaar. I was playing the Bazaar, which is a PvP auto battler with items and such. But I was like, oh man, this is really cool. I like all the synergies and stuff. And I liked how it presented like its different events, its upgrade events and everything. And I was thinking, well, it would be more fun for me personally if it was like a single player roguelike game instead of a PvP game. And so that was the main inspiration behind Alchemortis. And, you know, I just thought it would be cool to do like a necromancer alchemy theme kind of thing with alchemy system to mix and match abilities. And now we're here. So yeah, that's basically how it works. Anyway, I'm gonna finish implementing this item. This is the caged skeleton. He's kind of cute. But yeah, we got a caged skeleton here, hanging from a little cage from a post. And I'm doing his abilities. I actually got stuck on this ability last night because I solved it like immediately after I went to bed. I was like, oh wait, I need to do this thing. So in this ability here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make it so that it paralyzes a random enemy for every time a crit happened since last execution. And I think the problem is that, so I have this Sentinel ability, which is basically just it's an empty ability that just occupies a spot in the ability execution list so that I can reach into the turn history and get the critical abilities since ability execution of that Sentinel ability. So the way it's supposed to work is it's supposed to go back in history, find the last execution of this Sentinel ability, and then sum up all of the critically executed abilities in between or in that range. The problem is that summing up is done in a generic ability, and so when it says, oh, since the Sentinel ability, well, it's just going one slot over here. And so it's saying, oh, there was no crits because there's no abilities in here. So what I need to do actually is put the Sentinel ability after the generic ability. So the generic ability always looks at everything up to, so you can imagine this as like a timeline. So it would be like this, right? So this, and then this, and then this, right? So this is the timeline of abilities. So this generic ability, when it first goes on the first turn, it will say, okay, where was the previous Sentinel ability executed? There was none. Okay, so we're going to sum up all the abilities basically since the start of combat that were critical. And then the Sentinel ability goes, and then we got the ability repeater, and then the generic ability goes, and it says, okay, now, one thing that's missing in here is that in this timeline, there will be all kinds of other, like, skeleton warrior damage and, you know, like, werewolf bleed. Like there will be a bunch of other abilities executed in between this. So when the generic ability fires again, it's going to say, okay, when was the last Sentinel ability? It was here. Okay, so there's our Sentinel ability. And so of these abilities in between that Sentinel ability and the generic ability execution again, how many of these were crits? So I basically just had an order of operations issue. I think the other thing I'm not sure of is I added this. This is a new query thing for my turn history, which counts up all the ability critical executions, which actually required me to thread some new data through the system. So I'm actually not entirely sure that that's going to work, but we will see. Also, this caged skeleton is not configured properly. This is a 2x3 with excluded cells of 1, 1, and 1, 2. Okay, turn cooldown, let's do 57. We will make this a ritual item. We're not going to make it a minion. We're just going to make it a ritual item. Critical chance, that's fine. Critical bonus, let's do 6. Okay. Alrighty. So we've got that set up. Let's build and then we'll run. Do you know Backpack Brawl? I don't know that one. Hello, O Pacheco Dev, welcome. Are we having a good hair day? I guess so. Am I having a good hair day? I suppose so. I suppose so. There's some bad omens happening today. I started this stream and then like 3 seconds later, my computer just outright crashed. I would say it was a blue screen of death, but I guess there's no blue screens in Windows 11 anymore. It was a black screen of death. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Skeleton. Okay. I'm going to give this guy just a temporary 100% critical chance so I can test this. And then we'll go ahead and see. Good morning, Moneybags. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you again. It's going well. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay. So Caged Skeleton. Paralyze one random enemy item for 0.5 seconds per critical ability execution since the last execution. All right. Let's see what happens. So this guy's going to go. That's a critical. And then this should paralyze one thing. There we go. Okay, so now it's going to paralyze 2 things, I think. Should paralyze 2 things. Oh, it paralyzed the same guy twice. Oh, that's not good. Why did it do that? I guess it's possible for paralysis to stack. Yeah, I mean... I think I either need to make paralysis stack or... Also, is that not working for 0.5 seconds? Oh, maybe it is working. I think I should probably make paralysis stack. So if you paralyze an already paralyzed item, it just adds to the duration. There's so much work to do here, man. There is so much work to do. Goodness gracious. Well, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Anyway, the skeleton warrior, we're going to revert that change. Caged skeleton. Okay. So we have two more abilities I want to do. Increase crit chance of left and right adjacent items by 20%. Okay, let's do that one. That should be relatively easy. Var adjacent critical chance. New non-combat composed ability. Query target provider. Man, I've typed this so many times. It's almost making me tempted to just do QTP, but that just violates my desire to be clear with my code. Query target provider dot create options. Options dot board query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query directions dot left adjacent or board inventory component dot query directions dot right adjacent. Okay. I think that should be fine. Okay, so then yeah. Oh, I should probably put some scaling in here too. Current paralysis duration is equal to base paralysis duration. Current paralysis duration is equal to, oh. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need to do that. I can just do paralysis.scale for tier. Okay, that should work. Okay, critical chance modification, query target provider, int base value. Let's do this. Const int, const float. .15. Critical chance int base value. Is this a magnitude ability? It is. Why didn't I just make it yeah, let's just do dynamic magnitude ability. Base critical chance. Oh, this needs to be an int. Of course it does. We'll make this an int. No, I mean, I don't need to be that fancy. It's fine. Whatever. We'll just do this. Okay. Scalar is equal to ability scalars dot make additive scalar. Let's do 1. Critical chance modification dot set scaled magnitude. I probably do want to store. Base critical chance, current critical chance. Current critical chance is equal to scalar. Base critical chance tier. Critical chance modification set scaled magnitude. Current critical chance. Okay, and then this, we just put the query target provider in there, the critical chance modification in there. This one becomes adjacent critical chance. Increase critical chance of query target provider dot query to query string template by and then description utils dot magnitude 2% current critical chance. And then this would be ability caged skeleton adjacent critical chance. Okay, we put this in here. All right, now we can do the third ability. Heal X if summed critical chance of left and right adjacent items is 150% or greater. Did you create the font yourself? I did not, but welcome to the stream, 3 Uthox. I'm not that skilled to create the font. There is an interesting story behind the font, which I've repeated a number of times, but maybe I won't go into it again. But basically the gist of it is that it was an old font that I purchased like several years ago, but it was missing all of the accented characters for the various like Latin languages. And so I actually ended up reaching out to the author of the font and said, hey, can I pay you to extend the font to have these extra Latin characters? So like French and German and stuff would be translatable, localizable, right? And this font author was kind enough to just basically do that work. And then he just sent me the font and said, yeah, feel free to use this. I was like, oh, that was awesome. I was running a Linux Bazite for 2 weeks now. Really good experience so far. Everything is just working. That's good. Hello, GD Crazy. Welcome back. It doesn't say 2 different targets. That's true. I know you need to focus, but how did you find Godot and how long have you been using it? I don't remember how I found out about Godot, because I started using Godot in 2017 when the 3.0 alpha days were happening. And at that point I was using GameMaker Studio 2 for my game projects, and I was really unsatisfied with it. Because me being more of a programmer, I found the lack of like sophisticated programming tools in GameMaker Studio to be very limiting and very not fun to work with. And so I was looking for other engines to try. For whatever reason, I didn't really want to use Unity or Unreal. And so I somehow discovered Godot around that point, discovered that C# support was available for it. And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to try this. And I just tried the engine because it's, free to download, everything like that. And I loved it almost immediately. Like it was a little bit weird to get into at first, but once like everything clicked for me, I was like, okay, yeah, this is my engine. And I've been using it exclusively ever since. I haven't even touched another engine since 2017. I am now close to 100 A4 paper sheets written with ideas for board and computer games over the last year and a half, and now I want to finally put the ideas to practice, and I want to use Godot. Seems like a newcomer-friendly engine with extensive documentation. Yeah, it definitely is. I would say that's true of like Godot 4.4.x versions. When I started using Godot, the documentation and learning resources were incredibly sparse, and the engine itself was quite buggy because I was using an alpha version of a major update. But it was a little bit rough back then, but it's definitely like, I don't see why you wouldn't use Godot, honestly, if you're just going to make like a 2D game or something, or a simple 3D game. I don't see why you wouldn't use Godot. Like, yeah. I've said it before, but Godot is on the Blender trajectory where give it another 5-10 years and it's probably going to be like the de facto industry standard engine, especially for smaller teams. If you want a game to truly be successful, romantic subplot. Okay, here we go again with the romantic subplots. Welcome back, Ungi Bungi. Need advice. I'm done coding the basic gameplay loop for a game I'm prototyping. I'm at the point where I need to start getting art and animation set up. Should I just buy art assets? Well, here's the way I would think about it, right? Do you want to be... So buying art assets may be the easy thing to do now, but do you really want to be pigeonholed into buying assets for every game? Or do you want to bite the bullet and put in the effort to learn what you need to learn to make competent art assets, right? The way I think about it is like investing the time and the effort and the frustrations and all that stuff that comes along with learning how to do your own art it's a pretty steep cost up front in terms of time and effort, but it's a much better long-term investment because it's, you know, paradoxically, that's kind of the weird thing about like when we talk about freedom, right? Paradoxically, you're not really truly free until you submit yourself to a discipline and learn what you need to learn. Like, I'm free to basically create whatever 2D game I want now because I put in the effort to making my own art. I'm not limited by having the funds to pay somebody to do the art. I'm not limited by trying to wrangle somebody who's going to spend a long time on my project to create all the assets that I need. I'm not limited by having to wait weeks for art assets to be delivered, right? So I paid that upfront cost to learn how to do art myself, but now on the other end of it, having built up enough skill, I can just create the art whenever I need it, right? And I think that's well worth the investment. So that's the way I think about it. The buying art assets sounds like the easy option up front, but then you're basically stuck with that. Like for the next game that you make, you're still not going to have art skills. So then you need to buy assets again. And for the game after that, you still don't have art skills. So you're going to need to buy assets after that. It's like, is that the spot that you really want to be in? That's up for you to decide, right? But my assessment was no, I don't want to be in that spot. I'm gonna invest the time to learn art so that I can be free to do my own art in the future, right? Just scared to devote all the time making art for the game. And what if I don't like it? I'll be honest with you, you're probably not gonna like it. Your first attempts at learning art are going to be bad, and you're gonna feel bad about it. But that is a normal part of the learning process, and with practice and effort and time and study, you will get better at it. You're welcome, Cody. Hello, Adosui. Man, we've got so many memes now. We got the romantic arc, we got the why don't you read chat art, we got arc. Why wave function collapse? So many memes. Just do it, yeah. Learning anyways, just need to practice enough not to make terrible art. I have a lot of catching up to do, but I've been enjoying all your content. Kind of fell into making a game last week after having an idea for about 2 months. Awesome. Welcome to the stream, S. Bowen, and yeah. Game making is fun. I think if you just, I think a big part of it, especially if you're a newcomer to it, is like you just have to have patience with yourself. You have to understand that art is going to be really hard at first. Programming is going to be really hard at first. Game design is going to be really hard at first. These are all skills that need to be developed. And so, like, the only difference between me and anyone in the chat who's starting out is just time and experience. That's it. Like, I'm not doing anything special here. I've just learned a lot over years of making games, and I'm at the point now where I can create a game like Alchemortis. That's it. There's nothing magical happening. I don't have any sort of like special innate abilities that no one else has, It's just time and experience, that's all. Anyway, heal X if summed critical chance. Okay, so let's do this. Left and right adjacent items. So let's do var query target provider. Okay, you're getting copy pasted, bro. Copy paste. No, that's right. We need a new generic value provider. We're gonna do int. We're gonna take return query target provider dot get cache targets dot sum x dot get modified critical chance. Of course this is a float. Of course it's a float. Why is it a float? Well, whatever. Okay. Var conditional ability decorator is equal to new. Let's do const. Actually, yeah, let's do this. Constant. No, const. Yeah, int base heal 10. Base heal. New conditional ability decorator. Heal condition generic value provider dot get value. Actually, this probably doesn't need to be a generic value provider. I can just put this in the conditional body here. So var critical chance sum. If critical chance sum is greater than or equal to critical chance target. Actually, we just return this. Okay. So then we do the query target provider here, and then the conditional ability decorator. That should be it. I do need to do the scaling. So let's do heal.set scaled magnitude, ability scalars dot apply scalar, ability scalars dot get heal scalar, base magnitude, base heal and tier. Okay. All right, so this would be heal based, let's just do heal critical chance sum. Heal 0 if the critical chance sum of query target provider dot to query string template, 0 is no, this needs to be 1 and then 2 or greater. Okay, so this would be heal.get base magnitude. Then the second one is query target provider dot query options dot limit or 0. And then is 2 or greater. This would be description utils dot float 2%. Critical chance target. And then we do heal if critical chance sum. Alrighty. Even Vibe Coder can make games now. Yeah, but I think it remains to be seen whether AI will ever get good enough to create compelling games. Like, it may be able to create games from a technical standpoint, but the technical part of making games is almost the least important part, right? Like, that's the bare minimum you need to do, is have the technical skill to make a game that runs on somebody's computer. But games are not just pieces of software that either work or don't, right? They have to provide, like, the most important thing is providing a compelling experience. I'm absolutely zero experience game dev. I've played games for a long time and played an unhealthy amount of modded Minecraft, which has helped me shape my vision for my game, along with other games. Probably get flamed for this, but I've been using AI to learn by building a prototype and figuring out how everything works. No, using the AI as a learning tool is a great application for it. Like, it's basically like having an adjunct professor from the local community college right next to you, available 24/7 for you to ask questions of. So yeah, I think AI is a wonderful learning tool, and I would personally encourage people to use it as like an enhanced rubber duck or a Google search, right? I think that's a perfectly valid use case for it. It's just personal preference. Bookworm, welcome to the stream, by the way. The C# performance, you don't get free performance by using C#. It depends on the context in which you're using it. For the 99 or 95% of the time, just using C# is not going to give you any noticeable performance gains at all. Because there's still the performance penalty of interacting with the Godot API layer, right? So anytime you call a Godot API, it needs to go from C#. All the data and arguments need to be marshaled and then unmarshaled by C++, and then the C++ code needs to run, and then it needs to be marshaled again to be sent back to the C# layer. So that whole like round trip eats up a bunch of time, relatively speaking. So no, it's not performance. It's just personal preference, the structure that C# gives me, that's all. Blind vibe coding is bad. Yeah, I would say so as well. Compelling vibe coder equals compelling games, bros. No amount of leak code tutorials will turn you compelling. That is true. Okay. Build the translations, run the game. Here we go. Heal. I forgot to use the keyword. Okay, let's put the skeleton warrior back up to 1 critical chance. Let's also add another skeleton warrior. Totally valid take in regards to C# as my first language, actually. Oh, gotcha. Okay. I need to update the keyword, but that's all right. Caged skeleton. So what we should see, well, this is actually hold on a second. Item Sage. That is not working. Oh, it is working. Yeah, it is working. Okay, anyway. Let's see if I actually heal. Okay, we are healing. That's good. So my intention with this one is that this is not a minion, so I'm not going to give it the minion tag, and I'm also not going to give it the undead tag. Like, this is literally just a skeleton in a cage. It's not a minion, which makes sense, right? Because like if it's caged, it's not going to be able to do anything. Okay. So I should see no healing being done now. Perfect. All right. So the last thing that I need to do is this needs to be keywords.heal.capitalized. Okay. You can do a lot of batch operations on large amounts of data. You can gain some performance by using C# and then making as few Godot calls as possible. Yes. To the extent that you can keep things in the C# layer, then yeah, it's definitely faster. But for the most part, when you're working on a typical Godot game, things do not stay only on the C# layer. Oh, I forgot to rebuild the translations. Okay. The caged skeleton is done. I have to undo the skeleton warrior. Alrighty, so the caged skeleton, we just need to finish the flavor text, which I do off stream. Been having it write code, but I'm not delusional about my inability to do it myself. Figure if I get enough functions working together, I'll be able to see the programming better. Definitely more of a visual learner. Is this your art? It's actually phenomenal. Yes, yes. All the art in the game is hand drawn by me. So I use Sprite for this. So I drew this last night. Yeah, every art asset you see on screen, with the exception of fonts, which I don't know if you'd really count a font as being an art asset, but everything that appears on screen was drawn by me except for the fonts. So thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to code good enough that I can code for myself where I don't have to ask the AI that much anymore. Barely could utilize Skeleton Dragon in any runs. Yeah, I think that should be better now. I've made a bunch of changes. We'll probably do another playtest relatively soon. But I just made a change to how critical bonuses work, which should make things like the Skeleton Dragon a lot more appealing, because the Skeleton Dragon... So the critical multiplier went away. I got rid of that, and I instead replaced it with a critical bonus. And a critical bonus is just a flat amount that gets added to any crit. And the larger items have really high critical bonuses. So that means that if you... Like, if the Skeleton Dragon crits, it will add 11 to whatever the number is. So if you apply 6 fire and it crits, it will apply 17 fire instead. Which is actually better than having a 2x crit multiplier, right? So yeah, so I've been making certain tweaks to make large items more appealing to use. I think this is one such tweak, but I think there's still work to be done there, but yeah. That's how it goes. So Skeleton Dragon tagged as undead? It is. Okay, good. What are some pitfalls or annoying things about C# and Godot? I don't think there are many. The only slightly annoying thing is that you cannot pass pure C# classes as signal arguments. Like, any signal argument has to be something that is ultimately a variant or a Godot object. That's easy enough to work around, but that's a little bit annoying. You can't do web exports with C# currently, so that's another thing that may be annoying, but... Do you have an algorithm for how the stats work or damage? I'm assuming this is a roguelike game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you mean by algorithm. There's a very specific way that everything works, like the crit and everything, and those are applied in the same way for everything that can crit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's reducible to one algorithm, but the system works in a very predictable and consistent way, such that I just tune all these numbers and like define the abilities like we just did here, and then it just works with the system that I've built. So, yeah. Which animation method do I use? For animations, for like character animations, I just like use a bunch of different pieces, sprite pieces. So like the arm or the leg, and I just animate those with an animation player here. See? So that's basically what I do. For other types of animations, I'll do tweens or shaders. For this game, there's no frame-by-frame animation, so everything is one frame, and if it's going to be animated, it's either going to be animated with a tween or an animation player or a shader. Welcome, random rumble shots, or shorts, by the way. Okay. Let's think of oh, we got some new suggestions in the Discord. Let's take a look at those. By the way, you can join the Firebelly Games Discord. The link for that is in the description below. It's only a $50 entry fee. I'm just kidding. It's free. Please join. Alchemorta's suggestions. Let's see. Emerson suggested the Cursed Matryoshka doll. It's a 1x3 item that shrinks. Flaming Skull. Maybe we'll do that one. Flaming Skull. Flaming Skull. Let's do that. I'm kind of itching to do some smaller items because I've been doing a lot of large items. I also need to do more enemy boss cards. Item Flaming Skull. I'm just going to preemptively write the flavor text here. I have some interesting ideas for the Flaming Skull based on Junie's suggestion. Okay. I recently watched a video about your map logic and that was really awesome. I haven't been able to look into your game a lot yet, but does each game load a new unique map? Yes. Yes, every run is... I mean, maybe unique is too strong of a word because, like, generally, like, it's gonna feel somewhat the same. It's just the order of things that you can encounter and, like, what artifacts you'll encounter are all randomized. So the map layout is randomized, but there's only, you know, there's a certain amount of events you can visit. And there are certain rules about how those events get placed. So I would say that each run is different, yes, but also familiar. I guess we'll work with this for now. This is not going that well. let's see. One major issue that I have with C# with Godot is that I can't use the Godot profiler because that one only works for GDScript. Oh yeah, that makes sense. When do you plan on publishing the game? Do you have a schedule or a plan in place? Yes, the game will be out by the end of the year. By the end of the year. Oops. Okay, that looks decent, I think. Okay. I can make that work. I can make that work. That'll work. Okay, now flames are going to be a little bit tricky, but we will figure it out. That is definitely not going to work. Well, that's the problem with these 1x1 items, is that I often don't have enough room to do something super detailed. Because it's going to be cut off there. I guess maybe one thing I could do, I could try center this instead, and then try to do just a flaming background here. We'll try this instead and see how that goes. Nope. I mean, I guess we could see what that will do. I don't know about that, but whatever. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, I think, to get this to look like fire. Going to be very difficult indeed. That does not look anything like fire. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will take another stab at this. So, BRB. All right, I'm back. All right, let's figure out what we're going to do about this. What I may do is... maybe I'll try to do this again. There's just not enough room here. There's just not enough room. But this is probably my best bet of getting this to work, so we will try this. We will try this. No. There's no room. What else can I do? What else can I do? I've been researching like a crazy person, looking at sub viewport sizes, looking how Balatro and Domekeeper did. There's to have a nice, clean, crisp, non-pixel art font. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with how you would achieve a crisp font with a low resolution. I think you have to You have to like render the game in a sub viewport and then scale it up. And then render your UI on top of that. I think that's how it usually goes, but okay, this is not working. Let me just do something a little bit easier. Scale this, or not scale, shade this. We will shade this and then see what to do from there, I suppose. I mean, I guess that's basically it for the shading there. This would be a good item just by itself, but this would be a good item just by itself. But I don't know how to get the flames to work. Well, we can... I'll just work on the abilities for now, and then I'll come back to this. Hello, Curio Games, welcome. Gonna try and see how it looks. Probably change it like everything else. Yeah, I mean, it's an iterative process, right? Okay. What was the suggestion here for the flaming skull? Fire damage for each adjacent relic item. Deal self-fire per adjacent above item. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? Yeah. That is true. I'm going to slightly change this. Here's what I'll do. Maybe instead of trying to put fire in here, maybe instead of trying to put fire in the skull directly or in the art directly, what I may do is I just may make it a fire item. I'll just make it a fire item based on like its description and its name. And then I'll give it some like fire abilities. I have an interesting ability idea that's kind of inspired by what Junie said. So let's see. I'm going to make an ability. Alchemy can only receive fire abilities. Can only receive fire abilities, and then we'll make it do the fire per relic. I think the self fire per item above can be like a corrupted ability, probably. So let's actually write that down. I'm gonna put this in progress. So we've got a couple of things to do here. So I actually don't know how I'm going to do this alchemy ability. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. Ability pool, randomized ability pool, ability pool. Artifact added abilities. Oh, this is going to be a little bit weird. So basically what I want to do here is this ability pool. I want to do a filter on this. So if I want to limit this to only be able to receive fire abilities, what I would need to do is go to the Realchemy reagent effects. I probably want to do... we're going to do base card, list, func, base composed ability, bool, ability pool, so we've got our ability pool filters per card. Let's just do a public void. Funk, base card, bool, filter. Ability pool filters, try get value, base card, out var filter list equals empty array, empty list, filter list dot add filter. Oh, this needs to be a base composed ability. Ability pool filters, base card is equal to filter list. Okay. So now here, new file, alchemy, ability pool filter. What is an easy one that we can base this off of? Yeah, I mean, let's just do this. Alchemy ability pool filter. All right. So we basically just want to do we don't need this query target provider. Get rid of that. Alchemy ability pool filter, private func base composed ability, bool ability pool filter. Ability pool filter is equal to filter. And we're going to need string description template, string description translation key. Okay. Contribute effect. Context. So we're going to do effect dot ability pool filters. I may want to extend this at some point, but register ability pool filter for context dot reagent card is like a little bit of a misnomer there, but that's all right. So hopefully that works. And then in the flaming skull, what I would do alchemy ability pool filter. Is this a composed ability? Yeah. So new alchemy ability filter. So the filter here is going to be ability dot has keyword keywords dot fire string description translation key. So we're going to say so we're going to allow corrupted and legendary abilities. The description translation key, this would be card, flaming skull, alchemy, filter, fire. This item can only receive keywords dot fire abilities. What do I want to say? Well, that's probably fine for now. Receive only fire. Dot set is innate to true. Receive only fire. Okay, so we actually need to make the filter work now. So now we got to go to alchemy input config. So now we need to do this ability pool, right? So we need to do var ability filters is equal to reagent effects dot ability pool filters. I'll try get value. What is this? Input card. What is it? Oh, just card. Card out var ability pool filters. Okay. Ability pool is equal to ability pool dot where how do I actually apply this filter? Dot where x ability pool filters dot all right? So we're gonna take, I think all evaluates to true on an empty list. Yeah, if the sequence is empty, it's true. So this will just pass for everything. So we're getting the ability pool filters. We're going over every ability in the pool, and we're saying that ability has to pass all of the registered filters. Yeah. So we're basically just filtering down the ability pool to only the things that this card can receive. That excludes corrupted abilities, though, and legendary abilities, which is not indicated in the text, but I think that's probably okay. All right, let's see what happens. Have to go now, but this has been an amazing stream. All right, sounds good. Thank you for joining, Clickertail. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Flaming Skull. All right, so let's make this a minion, a relic, and we'll make it a 4-second turn cooldown. Let's give it a 10% critical chance, 3 critical bonus. Oh, something broke. Did my translations break? My translations did break. Interesting. Well, let's try it again. Don't know why my translation system didn't build. Let's see if it happens again. Oh, it must have had an error that I didn't see. Skull, alchemy, fire. Right, so I need to go alchemy, ability pool, filter, flaming skull. Here we go. Wait, receive only fire.set is innate. Did I delete that on accident? Add additional keyword, keywords, dot fire. Okay. Let's build it again. I must not have seen that alert that came up. Okay. Innate alchemy. This item can only receive fire abilities. Check it out. All right, so let's, well, it doesn't have enough ability slots though. So what I need to do is I need to do base ability slot override is equal to 3. So that it has more ability slots. I should definitely do this more and give like small items with more abilities. Okay, this item can only receive fire abilities. So let's do add item skeleton mage. Okay, we'll put this in here. 1 ability will be gained. If I put this in here, it still says 1 ability will be gained. Wait, why is that not saying that an ability will be gained? Uh-oh. Value cannot be null. Oh, that's probably why. Where the heck? Oh, here. Right. If ability pool filters is not equal to null, we do that. Okay. It would help if I wrote my code correctly. Maybe my game would work if I did that. It's relatively simple. Relatively simple to make code work. What am I doing? All right. Add item skeleton mage. All right, so we got this. 1 ability will be gained. Cool. Put this guy in here. Only 1 ability will be gained. Ooh, corrupted. So yeah, it only gained the fire ability. Now it should still be corruptible though. So let's see if I can get the skull to be corrupted. There we go. Yeah. So it's still going to be corrupted and it's still going to receive legendary abilities, but any normal ability will have to be fire. Excellent. So now let's make it apply fire per adjacent relic item. I think this much is good though, so let's do initial work on Flaming Skull. Okay. Oh man. So much work to do. Okay. Anyway. So we'll do fire per adjacent relic equals new composed ability. Okay. var query target provider. Say it with me, everybody. Is equal to query target provider dot create. Options. Man, I'm telling you what, I'm going to be sick of typing that by the time this project is done. Options dot query directions equals board inventory component dot query directions. Query directions dot adjacent. Okay. Oh, I need to do a tag filter as well. Options.tag is equal to card tag.relic. Okay. We want to do dynamic fire. Let's do a value scaler equals new value scaler. Query target provider. Const int base fire is equal to 2. Var current fire is equal to base fire. Value scaler set multiplier current fire. Var dynamic fire is equal to new dynamic magnitude ability. Value scaler new fire 0. Ability configuration key fire per adjacent. Let's just call it fire per relic. It doesn't matter. These keys here, these keys just need to be unique for the class that they're on. They don't need to be globally unique. So as long as it's just unique enough where I'm very unlikely to create a collision by adding more abilities, that's fine. All right, tier value scalers. Let's do ability scalers dot apply scaler, ability scalers dot get fire scaler, base fire tier, value scaler set multiplier current fire, description template apply keywords dot fire per query target provider 2 query string template 1. Okay, this is current fire, and then we're going to do query target provider dot query options dot limit 0. Okay, ability. What is it called usually? Okay. Card, flaming skull, fire per relic. Okay. Let's just rename this for simplicity. All right, there's our flaming skull. Let's build, and we'll test it and make sure it works. Add item, flaming skull. Apply 2 fire per adjacent allied relic items. That's incorrect. This needs to be force card singular to true. We are on that content grind. Chat is awful quiet. How's everyone's days going? Anything interesting going on? Apply 2 fire per adjacent allied relic item. Okay, this is a relic. Handle is not initialized. I wish I knew why that error was happening. But anyway, let's put this over here. Let's put that over there. My day's just getting started, getting coffee injected before my meetings kick off. That's understandable. How you you just told me how you're doing. Welcome. I'm Jacob F. Good to see you. Okay, apply 2 fire per adjacent allied relic item. It did not work. Did I forget to add abilities here? What did I do wrong here? What did I do wrong? Oh, it's a ritual item. Oh, that's a ritual item. Oh. I don't understand how my own game works. That's what's happening. It's a ritual item. Okay, all right. So I need to add item. What is a relic that I have? I mean, Saint Bones is one. Okay, there's a relic. Okay, let's try that. I will say it's got to the point now where if an ability doesn't work, I'm very confident that it's because I'm just doing something dumb. Like, the ability system is getting to the point where it's pretty solid, where it very rarely doesn't work because there's a bug in the system. It almost always is the case that if an ability doesn't work, it's because I just didn't do something right. Either I didn't test it right like I just did, or I forgot to include an ability in the execution list. So I originally wanted this month to just be content oriented, but I think I may have to change plans a little bit. At the gym, very nice. Okay, so this is working. Innate alchemy, this item can only receive fire abilities. Okay. New bosses this month. I have actually already created a new boss. This giant hammer, the Hammer of Judgment. If enemy armor is 50 or greater, deal armor damage equal to current enemy armor stack. So this is like armor shred. And then it deals 15 damage per enemy item larger than this item. And it also heals. So this is a new boss item. So yeah, bosses are definitely happening. I probably want to create like 3 or 4 bosses per region. And the way that I've configured it now is that there's a pool of bosses that are valid for each region. And what it does when it generates the map is it just chooses one of those bosses to be at the stronghold. So that should add quite a bit of more variety to the game. Elite enemies, honestly, I may end up just scrapping elite enemies. I don't think it adds that much to the game, and the amount of effort that would be required to make those compelling fights for like the rewards and stuff is just too much. So I'm probably just going to scrap the elite system, and we'll just roll. I might just convert the paladin into one of the bosses. You know what I mean? I think that elite system is just like, it's superfluous, and there's enough content in the game, there's enough interesting stuff going on that I think the juice is not worth the squeeze, in other words. Like, because I would have to design a bunch of elite enemies and then make it somehow really compelling for the player to go and do an elite fight and all that stuff, and it's just, I don't think it adds much. It adds a lot of effort, but not a lot of payoff. And there are other ways that I can, like, you know, add interest to the map or whatever, right? So yeah. Probably will scrap that. And actually, I might write that down. Remove elite system, convert paladin to a boss. Also update the difficulty option that adds elite encounter. And figure out how to give player eyeball. I'm just thinking, sorry. Anyway, I think the flaming skull is basically done now. Why is this breaking? Hold on a second. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's not good. Maybe we'll fix that really quick. But anyway. Okay, finish flaming skull abilities. So what I'm going to do is, instead of trying to draw flames on the skull, I'm just going to rename this. I'm probably going to give it a name like Master So-and-so's head or skull, right? Then this can stay as a relic item. Maybe I'll even remove the minion tag from it. And then I'll just add flavor text. He was a great pyromancer, right? And then there you go. So it's a fire-based skull without being a flaming skull, if that makes sense. So yeah, creative solutions to art problems is just explain away the lack of art by renaming things and presenting them differently. Because I think, honestly, this card, this works really well as just a standalone card. I think trying to add the flames, not only is it not going to look good, but it's going to just add noise to the art. So we'll just keep it like this, and we'll call it good. In anywho, sorry, I just have a lot going on through my head right now. I had a conversation with my publisher this morning about some deadlines, some things that we want to do, and it's causing me to have to rethink a lot of my development timeline. I mean, again, the publisher, I have freedom to determine my own development timeline and everything. So it's not like the publisher is telling me you have to do this thing, right? But it's a collaborative effort, and I trust their judgment on a lot of things. So I just have a lot of thinking and planning to do, that's all. That's all. Can always do it later too. Yeah, I can always do a content update. Like I said, we're in the point of development where I'm gonna have to ruthlessly cut stuff and manage the scope. And I think that's fine because the playtest that many of you tried, a lot of you spent a lot of time on, even though the playtest was still kind of rough. And so if you can get 10 hours of enjoyment out of the rough playtest, that means that there's already something compelling here, and I don't really need to add much more in terms of new features. So my main focus should really be at this point just adding more content so you have more to play with and doing all the quality of life stuff, right? Like fixing the bugs, correcting the imbalances, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think I can comfortably start really thinking about things to just cut and remove. I still gotta figure out what to do with this dang combat log. But I think I do want to do a playtest relatively soon because I want you all to try the new alchemy drawer position as well as the new crit system, as well as the new unlock system, right? The new unlock tree, which I still need to do work on. All these challenges here. So yeah, I want you all to try this stuff. Look at that. Wow. Look at how many items we got now. Oh, it duplicates the giant harvestman. That's funny. I guess it has to because these are technically separate items. But that's kind of funny. Look at all these items. Dang. I'm seeing some art in here that needs to be redrawn. I think the slime needs work. Mosquito swarm probably needs to be changed. I'm not really happy with the mimic that much either. Where's the pumpkin golem? Oh, there he is. Where's the pumpling? Where's the pumpling? Where's the pumpling? Oh, there. Pumpling. Wow. So far, I see great job. Keep it up. Hope you get to your level in games development. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Welcome to the stream. I'm back again. Welcome, Amungos. Time to add a search bar. Oh, man. I know. I know. Oh, I gotta fix this giant hammer thing. So I think the way to fix this would be to do non-combat composed ability. We're gonna put the card data provider in here. This is just internal. This can be null. We can get rid of this and we can do null here as well. So then this becomes, in here we do the non-combat data provider. Okay. So hopefully that will fix it. I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to try that though. Okay, that still work, or that fixes that bug. Now I'm just going to change this. Absolute occupied cells dot count is greater than 1. So I just want to see. Actually, let's do. Let me. Okay, Flaming Skull update. Let's change this to card data provider dot absolute occupied cells dot count. Let's just do count -3. Okay. And then we'll add a corrupted ability here in just a second. Giant hammer. I just want to make sure that this is going to deal 30 damage. Bam! 30 damage. Okay, we're good. So I can remove this part now. Just wanted to make sure that that card data provider was still working. Okay. Fix bug. Fix bug with giant hammer. Okay. We don't want any bugs in the game. So the Flaming Skull just needs flavor text and a new name. Okay, corrupted ability. Let's do this. Alchemy, corrupted abilities. Just a giant class. We're going to do var self fire per item above is equal to new composed ability. Query target provider is equal to new, or query target provider dot create options. Options dot query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query directions dot up. Am I scaling these things? I do scale some of them. So let's do constant base fire is equal to 1. Var current fire is equal to base fire. Ability configuration. This would be self fire per item above. Value scalar is equal to new value scalar, query target provider. Set multiplier current fire. Dynamic fire. Dynamic magnitude ability. Value scalar. New fire. Okay, we'll put dynamic fire here. This needs to be target self to true. All right. Scaling func. Current fire is equal to ability scalars dot apply scalar. Ability scalars dot get fire scalar. Base fire. Oops. Base fire tier. Value scalar dot set multiplier. Current fire. Description template. Apply 0 keywords dot fire to self per query target provider dot to query string template 1 force card singular to true. Okay, this is going to be current fire here. Query target provider dot query options. I don't really need to put this parameter in here, but I figure it's probably safer to do that. This is be ability corrupted. Self fire per above item or per item above. Okay, and then this would be self fire per item above. Let's just make sure that that works. So we'll comment all those out. Build. Definitely want to get more of these corrupted abilities too. Like, how many are here? Like 20? A little less than 20? I think this should be like a healthy amount. This should probably be closer to 50, but ideally more. Okay, let's see if we can get some corruption going. We did not get any corruption going. Apply 1 fire to self per allied item above. We'll put the cage skeleton above that guy. Let's see if we get some self-fire going. Yep. Cool. All right, that works. So we can undo all this stuff. We have to build again. Rebuild the translations. Okay, so we should only see one change in here. Cool. All right then. Cool. All right. That's also new content, so that's good. All right then. Yeah, I think that'll be it for the stream for now. I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to do this afternoon, so I'm going to do that off stream. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. I very much appreciate it. If you're interested in Alcamortis, please consider wishlisting it. That would help me out a lot. You can also support the game on Patreon. You can become a YouTube member. You can join the Discord. All the ways that you could support and follow the community, follow the game, are linked in the description below. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of your support, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye for now.